Hi there, my name is Ryan. A really interesting game released this year called Neon White from Angel Matrix. It combines a lot of great features together in a polished package. From platforming to dating sim, from shooting demons to speedrunning, there's a lot of character in this game, and I'm not just talking about the cigar-chomping cat. It constrains traversal that's crucial for its platforming elements into temporary abilities. This adds a lot of depth to what would otherwise be purely an exercise in speedrunning. By making these abilities resources to be spent wisely, Neon White creates the fastest puzzle game out there. Neon White is a first-person action game where the player inhabits the role of a long-dead assassin brought to heaven to hunt demons by some dubious angelic entities. In between levels, you'll converse with cat angels and your fellow assassins before heading out into heavenly vistas to destroy demons as quickly as possible. Each level requires the player to destroy every demon and are rewarded with medals for the fastest times. Conveniently, these demons are laid out along a linear, winding level path. The player must discern how quickest to use the platforming abilities at their disposal to clear the levels of demons and reach the gate. In this example, you can see that there's a path winding around this central pillar, which takes you slowly up and around, killing demons on the bottom floor area as you go. However, near the start you can jump into this balloon-like demon, which will take you to the top of the level almost immediately, killing that balloon demon in the process. This allows you to shoot on the enemies from above and get to the gate much quicker. Core to Neon White are the platforming abilities in the game. The player starts out with running, jumping, and a sword attack as the only affordances at their disposal. And those are the only permanent abilities you have. Every other ability that you gain in the game is temporary, which is a profound change away from permanent traversal abilities. We would normally expect in regular game progression to gather abilities like double jump or dash as we advance through the game and have them permanently at our disposal. Neon White makes these abilities temporary and collectible through the level in form of cards. Each of these cards has a gun associated with it and a traversal ability. Players can use the card for a certain amount of shots to defeat enemies, but they can also burn the card for its traversal ability, getting rid of that card instantly. By only placing certain cards in the level at certain points, it constrains possible movement so the developers can create a specific traversal experience that they want players to follow. The developers aren't having to cater to the player's power progression of being able to do everything everywhere all at once. They can focus on combinations of one or two platforming mechanics at a time. This more constrained form of ability management means that through many attempts at a level, players get an idea of their possible traversal at any given section. This creates a strange version of resource management that we don't often see in games. We might expect players to manage resources like health potions, mana, or ammo, but in those instances, the abilities reside permanently with the characters. The temporary nature of abilities in Neon White means the player is always thinking about how and where to apply the cards. With this resource management based traversal by itself, you get limited movement through a space. Neon White combines this with a simple yet effective objective system that frames this traversal brilliantly. For each level in the game, there are a number of medals the player can get: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and red. And in addition to the medals, there are gifts that you can find in the levels to give to the other characters and advance their stories. The first 3 medals are awarded for completing the level along what might be considered the standard path to the exit. They're most often achieved when the player attempts the level for the first time, when they're just gaining a familiarity with the path to the exit. The Platinum medal is typically achieved when the player discovers a shortcut or uses the traversal abilities to skip or subvert that standard path through. I showed an example of jumping into the balloon demon as a way to skip the path earlier, which would earn the player a Platinum medal if done correctly. And the red medals are for beating secret developer times on levels, but I haven't beaten any of those, so let's just ignore those. Finally, the player can find secret gifts, which often require the player to use the traversal abilities in completely different ways, usually abandoning the path to the exit and scaling the environment creatively. Each of the medals has a natural progression, which teaches the player to be more efficient with each traversal ability and hints at how to get the next medal. But the attainment of those medals lies at the brilliant intersection between dexterity and deductive reasoning. It's a potent combo that makes for a unique experience and for some interesting comparisons. So when we bring everything together, Neon White is a frantic navigation through 3D space, but that element of deductive reasoning makes it feel unique. Players are required to move and perceive things quickly, but they also have to figure out how to use their traversal resources efficiently to achieve the high rank medals and collect the gifts. This deductive reasoning part begs comparison with puzzle games. For this, it's vital to reiterate how important the resource management of Neon White is to creating this kind of 3D puzzle. I can show this through the separation between different types of puzzle games where navigation of space is crucial to the experience. In titles like Cosmic Express, the player is navigating a train through a square grid, but there are no affordances or resources to manipulate. The difficulty of the puzzle is defined by the constraint of the space and how players explicitly navigate its labyrinthine solution. You draw the path, but that's all you do. If Neon White was like Cosmic Express in this regard, it would have fewer platforming abilities or permanent abilities, and for each level the only question asked of the player is, can you optimize your traversal through this linear path? On the other hand, Sokoban or block moving puzzles like Patrick's Parabox and A Monster's Expedition have movable objects or resources as a part of the space that players have to interact with. We can go one step further with something like Baba Is You, where the player has access to code blocks which can redefine the rules of the level. These Sokoban games use the space and resources to define the difficulty and deductive reasoning needed. Neon White isn't just about speedrunning through great levels. The level is as much about where the developers have placed the resources and how the player figures out how to use them to accomplish their goals. 2D puzzle games certainly aren't the most common comparison for Neon White. Because it's from a first-person viewpoint, it's more natural to look at games like Dishonored and Teardown, which certainly share some of the same DNA of creatively thinking through traversal. But because of how temporary the resources are in Neon White and how it layers its objectives, I think it's useful to think of it as a 3D puzzle game with great dexterity challenges. Instead of abilities being permanent across the game, each level is taken independently with the same deductive process at play that you might find in something like Baba Is You, analysing what resources are available and how to use them to solve the special puzzle of the level. That it requires the player to do this at a blistering pace makes it one of the more unique puzzle games around. Thanks so much for watching. Neon White is a really fun game and well worth your time. If you'd like to watch my last video on the artful escape and camera movement, you can click on the link in the video. That's all from me. Take care.